In my bid to try to understand Nintendo and what it is that they offer in the market, yes, some of us actually have lived a thriving life without Nintendo in our lives. I know some of it may be surprising. You have to bear with us, okay? Some of us are kind of new to this, and who knows? If Nintendo can give a value proposition that's solid, you don't know. I might be convinced. I thought the same way about Xbox. At one point, I didn't know what they offered, and I couldn't find a value proposition. But look, now, well, as a PC gamer, I can say Xbox is actually solid when it comes to value. But this is very interesting. I'm sure you saw it at the beginning of the video. And you were like, huh? You probably didn't even hear what I said the last minute because Sammy Barker writes feature. PS5's not perfect, but here are 5 ways it's more consumer friendly than the Switch 2. I saw the article and I said to myself, bro, come, everybody come, look at this. I don't know, man. Let's see how it's going to go. Woo-wee. All right, so Sammy Barker writes and says, the phrase consumer friendly gets tossed around a lot and is rarely ever true. First of all, Ms. Barker, let me stop you. I know you write for a pro PlayStation publication, but I gotta tell you, man, consumer friendly actually exists in gaming, and we can mathematically, from a value proposition, see it with not only what Xbox is doing, even though I will give that as the very first proxy because you're talking about a console, but primarily from the top all the way down, you can put Steam as number 1. In fact, Amazon had a former CEO dude that came out and said, we tried to take over and basically obliterate Steam from the market for 15 years, but we failed. Why do you think they failed? What do you think happened along the line? They had the money. They bought the platforms. They did everything that they could, but it still did not work out. In the comment section of that LinkedIn post, a bunch of people started telling him, many of them sounded like, millennials who were, in tech and all that, hey, Steam doesn't just sell games. It sells consumer protections. It was Steam that the first time I saw it started making developers put footage and images that they could vouch for were in game. If the footage was not representative, they had to put a tag saying, hey, by the way, man, this is probably not what you're going to see in the video game. Then you have Good Old Games. This is also another platform that a lot of people don't really talk about, which gives you DRM-free titles as well. So consumer friendly is something that consoles have to actually dig deep. You know how you're looking for a penny and you got to basically find and search the corners of the couches? Consoles actually have to do that to come out and say anything about being consumer friendly when you juxtapose them against PC as a platform and currently what Xbox is adding to all of this. And you know what's crazy though is apparently, and this is according to the knowledge that's been made known to me, is that Xbox has been doing a lot of these things all the way back then and getting hounded for it or laughed at and so on and so forth. And Nintendo Switch 2 came up with one of these things of recent with their games or whatever it is. And everybody says, oh, it's good now. Anyways, all companies want to extract money from your wallet at the end of the day, of course. But there are scales to this sort of stuff, and some organizations tend to be fairer than others. Man, you better mention Xbox somewhere. PlayStation is often criticized as being the most anti-consumer gaming company of all. They kind of are. Locking games from going to other people on other platforms, that's their deal. Blocking games from going to Xbox. The most anti-consumer thing that you can do so that the consumer is burdened with coming to buy your $5.99, $4.49, or $3.99 box to play a $60 game that's usually a one-and-doneer. Absolute trash. This is a statement that dates all the way back to the PS3 era when the console's $5.99 price instantly became a meme. Before we dig deeper into this article, I like to underline that Sony still makes a lot of questionable decisions, of course, and there are no shortage of things to criticize, of course. However, the internet explodes over Switch 2's high software prices. We figured it's worth rounding up some of the ways PS5 is a touch more tolerable than its newest rival. Now, Ms. Barker, I have to say, perhaps you think we're talking about touches here. Now, me as as somebody who's a game commenter and also a gamer, I'm not talking about a tad bit better. Does that make sense? We have gone past that, oh, this guy is a bit better than this guy phase. We're now in the phase of who's going to give me the very best proposition before they can ever determine to earn a dime from me. That is where we are right now. Why? Because there is no shortage of people who are wanting to give you value in this gaming industry. I can go ahead and continue to list more proxies that still continue to floor anything PlayStation or Nintendo or even Xbox will put out there. Epic Games, as much as there's the talk that they may be hated or whatever, they have their quirks and their qualms, but believe you me, Epic Games gives away free games every month. The only thing you got to do is download the Epic Games launcher. As much as people may talk and talk and talk, people still play on this platform and enjoy the free games that are available. You'll build a backlog with Epic Games' games that you will never be able to finish. It's that simple. It's actually that real. They just give you so many decent games that you can actually have here. In my Epic Games library, look at the deal of the week, $3.99. That's crazy, man. I'm going to look away. Stop that. In my Epic Games library are games that in many cases still cost $10, $15, $20 in some cases. In some cases even more, that have been given away for free. Backlog that can be dealt with. Then you have Amazon. Yes, the Amazon that I talked about with Prime Gaming giving away free games. No commitment in any case. Now, except for you need to have an Amazon Prime subscription. That comes along with it. But they're also giving about the same quality of games. And you know what's crazy? Amazon is giving DRM free games in some cases on Good Old Games. Wild. Keep going, though. When the internet started speculating about Switch 2's mysterious C button, many wondered what kind of functionality it will be. It turns out it was just party chat. Here's the kicker, though. In order to take full advantage of the C button, you'll need an active Nintendo Switch Online membership. There will be a free trial available for the first-time purchasers, but beyond that, you'll have to cough up. To be fair, Sony does lock some of its community features behind PS Plus. The oft-overlooked SharePlay, for example, which lets your friend take control of your console and play local multiplayer games over the internet, is a paid feature. You can library share on Steam without that. And this is not family sharing. This is library sharing, right? Family sharing, they did that and they locked it to specific regions. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this requires no subscription service. Ms. Barker, man, we need to get you into PC gaming. But the core, basic social functionality as part of Party Chart is free, and PlayStation 5 has been for over a generation now. I wonder who else also has it some kind of free, and also been a thing at the end of the day. Let's keep reading, though, because this is very interesting. Sony has attracted enormous criticism from all corners of the internet for its emphasis on remasters. You think? But its approach, while not perfect, is much fairer than what Nintendo announced thus far. Ever since launch, backward compatibility has ensured many games play better on PS5 than on PS4. Some, like Days Gone, Horizon Zero Dawn, got free updates, unlocking their frame rates and boosting their resolutions. This is similar to what Nintendo is offering with Legends of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, although it's building in some superfluous mobile app features and charging $10 for the privilege. Ms. Barker, quit this. Quit it right now. Because I can tell you, I was ready to go back and play Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy of Thieves, but they did not give a free upgrade to that. Unless something has changed. There is no full-blown remaster. Like you're saying, do you not even know the PlayStation you're writing about here? Specifically, Nintendo Switch Online subscription will get you the upgrades for free, which is not free because you're paying for an online subscription for an upgrade. Bro, Xbox trounces this nonsense. I cannot believe that there was enough gumption to write this article. You know what I mean? But when Sony charged $10 for upgrades, it's offered full-blown remasters. We still haven't seen enough of Days Gone Remastered to know if it will be worth the upgrade, but past attempts like Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, The Last of Us Part 2 Remasters have delivered serious impressive overhauls. The former in particular completely transforms the presentation, with more than just a mere resolution bump. What did they add for Uncharted 4? Okay. It should also be added that many of these $10 upgrades on Sony include new content, like the Rogue model of The Last of Us 2 compared. Comparably, Nintendo will charge you $20 for the new content in Super Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby and the Forgotten Land. PlayStation is not completely perfect. Man, do you have to preface everything with what we already know? Of course, The Last of Us Part 1, Until Dawn, and full-blown remakes were flogged without any upgrade option, while the platform holder would justify that by saying it completely rebuked these games for the purpose of fairness. We figured out it was worth pointing out. Let's get the obvious caveat out of the way. which is Xbox does a way better job than all of these. Almost all games in this era have day one patches. We don't love it, but due to the lag between a game going gold and landing in your hands, developers will often spend additional time repairing their games while they're being manufactured. That means you'll often have to download patches for your latest physical games. However, it's extremely rare for a game to ship on the PS5 and not be playable out of the box. Marvel Spider-Man 2. Are there any examples where this happened? Yes, but it's not common in the slightest. Whatever. Nintendo is introducing a new model on the Switch 2 called Game Key Cards, which allows developers to offer a physical product, but it's one you need to download. While it does still allow for resale and trading, you simply won't be able to play your game if you haven't connected to the internet and downloaded it first. It raises all kinds of preservation issues that will happen to your software in the future if Nintendo ever shuts down its servers. What if it ceases to support the Switch 2 eShop like it already has with the Wii U and 3DS stores? It's not something you should be worrying about as an early adopter, but suppose... See, I don't know anywhere PlayStation can go. They're both terrible in their consumer practices. This is what this article is basically just saying. When you juxtapose it, and that's the thing, you got to compare it with what's out there. So this says first-party software is cheaper for now. $69.99 is a lot of money for a first-party PS5 game. But PlayStation was one of the first to adopt the price increase. But it's cheaper than the new standard Nintendo is trying to introduce. Oh, goodness. Okay, I'm done. Because that's just I can't. I cannot. Oh, that was a little painful. What? All right, okay, I'll read it. But it's cheaper than... Oh, to be fair, it seems like Nintendo's adopting flexible pricing, and the new Donkey Kong Bonanza game will match Sony's first-party offerings at $69.99. But if you're not upgrading, the likes like Super Mario Party Jamboree, Kirby, and the Forgotten Land, you'll once again be spending $79.99 for the Switch editions of 2 outright. Hold on. I think I paid almost... I think I paid, after taxes, it was almost $80 for Tears of the Kingdom. If you pay for the $10 upgrade... You're still paying it for you're still paying an $80 for the game, a game that should have been granted you the ability to be able to go ahead and upgrade because of the new hardware. It is still terrible. It's still trash. I don't care if you love Nintendo, if you love PlayStation, it is trash when you compare it to what is on the market. What is this article trying to do? It's also worth mentioning that Sony tends to discount faster and deeper than its Japanese rival. So basically exposing that these Sony games are not even worth what it is that they actually claim for them to be, or that the industry has enough games saturated in it that's making these prices basically go down the tanker when they finally release their $70 game. While its sales have certainly gotten less compelling over time, Tears of the Kingdom has never gone lower than $49.99 on the Nintendo eShop, and that was just once. A comparable exclusive like Marvel Spider-Man 2 has reached a low of $39.99 on the PS Store on at least 3 occasions now. Well, that's because the market said, we don't care about Marvel Spider-Man 2. We care more about Tears of the Kingdom. I get it. But even I myself will never buy another Nintendo game, in my mind anyways, that's from what I know. I mean, you never know. I may wake up tomorrow morning and you see the Switch 2 in my hand. I don't know. In defense of Nintendo's approach, it's reluctant to reduce prices, thus keep resale values higher, which some may appreciate. Okay. To be fair, Sony is no angel here. Most recently, it's jumped around the trend of charging extra for early access. If you want Death Stranding on the beach, for instance, it will cost you $69.99. Xbox does it too. Third-party publishers do that too. But that's not what we're talking about, because you have options at least. But in order to play it as early as possible, you need to cough up $79.99. Yes, it's better than Nintendo's recent announcement, but when we still submit, it's all trending in the wrong direction. And then retro games being purchased out of subscription. There has not been a much more out-of-touch article that I've seen in a long time. Thanks for watching. I was just tired, man. Peace out. Can you imagine that? Writing that in front of... When there's Xbox and PC in this whole conversation. This is not an article. They shouldn't let you publish this. Peace out.